Hi guys, this is Mina. Today we are going to talk about the drop statement in SQL Server Management Studio. Drop is used to either completely remove a database, a schema, or a table. So if you want to delete a database completely from your SQL Server, you have to use the drop statement. And the syntax for dropping objects in SQL Server is you type out the word drop, and if it's a database, you type database and then followed by the name of the database. And next, if you want to drop a schema, you type drop schema and the name of the schema. And lastly, if it's a table, as you guess, it's drop table, table name. So let's move on to our Management Studio to see how the syntax works. So guys, this is our SQL Server Management Studio, and I've gone ahead to type out the syntax for dropping a table, a schema, and a database. We're going to start with a table, and to do that, we have to first make sure that we are in the right database where the table is situated. So we come to this drop down arrow and select the right database. The table we want to drop is in the student record database. So we come to student records and go to tables, and we want to drop the table mega class student. So what we have to do is type out the syntax. It's drop table and then the name of the table. You can type it out. Once I execute this command, the table has to be deleted completely from the system. However, this syntax is not going to work because this table, the student table, is linked to another table in my database. Let's see that. I would go to database diagram and click on new database diagram. It's going to see the relationship between my tables. So I will select all of them and add. Okay, as you can see here, the table that we want to delete is this student table, but it is linked to another table, which is the courses table. So we can't just go ahead and delete this student table. In order to be able to delete a student table, we have to either delete the relationship constraint or delete the courses table before we can be able to remove the student table. I say delete the courses table because based on this relationship, the courses table is more like the daughter table and the student table is the parent table. So you have to remove the daughter table before you can be able to delete the student table. All right, so let's go back to our syntax and see this in action. All right, so I'm going to try to delete this table and we should expect an error. There, we cannot drop an object because it is referenced by a foreign key constraint. So like I said, we have to either remove the relationship, which is the foreign key constraint, or delete the courses table before we can be able to get down to delete the student table. I prefer to remove the foreign key constraint, so let's do that. We will go to our diagram and then we can right click on the relationship and delete relationship. Yes. Okay, so now there isn't any relationship between these two tables. We need to save this diagram before we can be able to delete our student table. So let's save it. Okay, yes. And close. Now let's execute our drop command. See, because there is no longer relationship between the student table and the courses table, the command has been completed successfully. So remember, if you want to drop any table, make sure it is not related to any other table. So let's try the drop command for the rest of the tables in our database. I'm going to type drop table. The name of the table, this time I want to delete courses table. So I would select that and execute. Courses table is gone. And the last in the database is table instructor. And I'm going to drop that as well. So now we do not have any table in our database. I can click on table and go to refresh. And now see there isn't any table at all. This is system table and that's not our table. So this is how to drop a table in SQL Server Management Studio. If you want to drop a schema in SQL Server, you have to make sure that no table is referencing that schema. And because all of the tables in our database, student record, have been deleted, now we can be able to delete this schema, which is mega class. And to do that, this is the syntax for dropping a schema. So we can type drop schema and then the name of the schema, and I'm going to show you where schema is located in a database. So we go to the appropriate database, which is student record. We go to security, and then under schemas we click on the plus sign, and this is the name of our schema. Again, no table is referencing our schema mega class, so we can execute this command and the schema is also gone. Now we can go ahead and drop our database. As you guessed, it's drop database, and the name of the database is student records. Before we can drop this database, we have to make sure that no one is connected to this database. So for instance, right now we are connected to the student record database, so we cannot drop this command. If I try to execute this, it would give us an error saying that the database is being used. See, we cannot drop database because it is currently in use. So in order to be able to drop a database, we have to switch over to any of the database in my SQL Server, and then we can execute this command. Now it should work. Okay, so command completed successfully. So right now we have been able to drop all our tables and drop our schema, and now we do not have any database called student record at all. So if we refresh our databases, we shouldn't see any database called student record. So this is how you drop objects in SQL Server Management Studio. The syntax is drop, and then if it's a database, you type database and then the name of the database you want to drop. Make sure that that database is not in use. Make sure if it's a schema, no table is referencing that schema. And also if it's a table, make sure that it is not being referenced as a foreign key in another table. There isn't any connection between the tables in SQL Server. Thank you so much for staying with me on this video, and see you in my next tutorial where I'm going to show you how to truncate and delete tables in SQL Server. Have a good day.